Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda. Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Om Jnana Tinamandasha Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yaina Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharine Nivishesha Sunivadi Pascha Jadi Shatarine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Shri Mate Bir Krishna Das Goswami Niti Namine Namo Hamsane Kashaya Prabhupada Prayayate Sudrida Sudi Nistyam Vyam Tashavaki Nivadine. Hare Krishna. So today is Saturday, which is our wonderful study of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. And we're still on for the third week in a row, Madhya 15, text 108. And I'm going to continue through and maybe finish text 108 today, since it's been in the works for a couple of weeks. And I'm going to pick up with the last thing we discussed, which has been on my mind quite a lot lately. And this is regarding Brahminical initiation and how it deepens one's relationship with the spiritual master and with Krishna. This is a little bit of ways down in the text. Although born in a Brahmana family, one becomes a Brahmana only after initiation and the sacred thread ceremony. Unless one is initiated as a Brahmana, one cannot worship the holy name properly. According to the Vaishnava regulative principles, one must be initiated as a Brahmana. The Hari Bhakti Vilas quotes the following injunction from the Vishnu Yamala. Adikshtashavamuru kritam sarvam nirartakam pashu yonim avapnoti diksha virahito jana. Unless one is initiated by a bona fide spiritual master, all his devotional activities are useless. A person who is not properly initiated can descend again into the animal species. Hari Bhakti Vilas further quotes, Ato gurum pranam yaivam sarvasvam vinevedyacha griniyad vaishnavam mantram diksha purvam vedanata. It is the duty of every human being to surrender to a bona fide spiritual master, giving him everything, body, mind, and intelligence. One must take Vaishnava initiation from him. The Bhakti Sandarbha gives the following quotation from the Tattva Sagara. Yata kanchanatam yati kamshyam rasha vidanata tata diksha vidanena dvijam tvam jayate nrinam. By chemical manipulation, bell metal is turned into gold when touched by mercury. Similarly, when a person is properly initiated, he can acquire the qualities of a Brahmana. The Hari Bhakti Vilas, in discussing the Purushkarya process, quotes the following verses from the Agastya Samhita. Puja Trikaliki Nityam Japas Tarpanamevacha Oma Brahmana Bhuktischa Puruskaranam Uchyate Guru Labdasya Mantrasya Prasadena Yatavidi Pancha Gopashana Siddhyai Puraschatad Vidiyate. In the morning, afternoon, and evening, one should worship the deity, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, offer oblations, perform a fire sacrifice, and feed the brahmanas. These 5 activities constitute Puruskarya. To attain full success when taking initiation from the spiritual master, one should first perform these Puruskarya processes. The word Pura means before and Charya means activities. Due to the necessity of these activities, we do not immediately initiate disciples in the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. For 6 months, a candidate for initiation must first attend arati and classes in the Shastra, practice the regulative principles, and associate with other devotees. When one is actually advanced in the Puruskarya Vidhi, he is recommended by the local temple president for initiation. It is not that anyone can be suddenly initiated without meeting the requirements. When one is further advanced by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra 16 rounds daily, following the regulative principles and attending classes, he receives the sacred thread, Brahminical recognition, after the second 6 months. In the Hari Bhakti Vilas, it is stated, Vinayena nasidyasyan mantro varsha satarapi kritena yena labate sadako vanchitam phalam puraskarnaya sampano mantrahi valadakyaka atapura kriyam kuryat mantra vitsidi kankshaya puroskriyahi mantranam prandanam viryamuchyate Viryam hino yata dehi sarva kama shuna shama puraskarana hino hi tata mantra prakirtita. Without performing the Puruskarya activities, one cannot become perfect, even by chanting this mantra for hundreds of years. But one who has undergone the Puruskarya Vidhi process can attain success very easily. If one wishes to perfect his initiation, he must first undergo the Puruskarya activities. The Puruskarya process is the life force by which one is successful in chanting the mantra. Without the life force, one cannot do anything. Similarly, without the life force of Puruskarya Vidhi, no mantra can be perfected. In his Bhakti Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami describes the importance of deity worship and initiation, Diksha, as follows. It is Srimad Bhagavatam's opinion that the process of deity worship is not actually necessary, just as the specific prescriptions of the Pancharatra and other scriptures do not have to be followed. The Bhagavatam enjoins that even without practicing deity worship, one can achieve the complete success of human life by any of the other devotional processes, such as simply offering oneself at the Lord's feet for his protection. Nonetheless, Vaishnavas following the path of Sri Narada and his successors endeavor to establish a personal relationship with the Lord by receiving the grace of a bona fide spiritual master through initiation. And in this tradition, the devotees are obliged at the time of initiation to begin engaging in deity worship. Although deity worship is not essential, the material conditioning of most candidates for devotional service requires that they engage in this activity. When we consider their bodily and mental conditions, we find that the character of such candidates is impure and their minds are agitated. Therefore, to rectify this material conditioning, the great sage Narada and others have at different times recommended various kinds of regulations for deity worship. Similarly, the Ramarchana Chandrika states, Vinayva diksham viprendra puraskaryam vinayva hi vinayva nyasha vidina japa matrena siddhida. O best of the Brahmanas, even without initiation, preliminary purification, or acceptance of the renounced order, one can attain perfection in devotional service simply by chanting the Lord's holy name. In other words, the chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra is so powerful that it does not depend on official initiation. But if one is initiated and engages in Pancharatra Vidhi, deity worship, his Krishna consciousness will awaken very soon, and his identification with the material world will be vanquished. The more one is freed from material identification, the more one can realize that the spirit soul is qualitatively as good as the Supreme Soul. At such a time, when one is situated on the absolute platform, one can understand that the holy name of the Lord and the Lord himself are identical. At that stage of realization, the holy name of the Lord, the Hare Krishna mantra, cannot be identified with any material sound. If one accepts the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as a material vibration, he falls down. One should worship and chant the holy name of the Lord by accepting it as the Lord himself. One should therefore be initiated properly according to revealed scriptures under the direction of a bona fide spiritual master. Although chanting the holy name is good for both the conditioned and liberated soul, it is especially beneficial to the conditioned soul, because by chanting it, one is liberated. When a person who chants the holy name is liberated, he attains the ultimate perfection by returning home, back to Godhead. In the words of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishna mantra haite have samsara mochana, Krishna nama haite pave Krishnera charana. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can obtain freedom from material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, one will be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. The offenseless chanting of the holy name does not depend on the initiation process. Although initiation may depend on Puruskarya or Puruskarana, the actual chanting of the holy name does not depend on Puruskarya Vidhi or the regulative principles. If one chants the holy name even once without committing an offense, he attains all success. During the chanting of the holy name, the tongue must work. Simply by chanting the holy name, one is immediately delivered. The tongue is Sevan Mukya Jiva. It is controlled by service. One whose tongue is engaged in tasting material things and also talking about them cannot use the tongue for absolute realization. Ata Krishna, Sri Krishna Namadina Bhavet Graya Midrindaya Sevan Mukehi Javado Swayameva Spuratyada. With the material senses, one cannot understand the transcendental holy name of the Lord or his form, activities, and pastimes. But when one actually engages in devotional service, utilizing the tongue, the Lord is revealed. And it is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 17:134, Ataiva Krishnera namadeha vilasa prakritendriya grahayana heyaya prakasha. The holy name of Krishna, his body and his pastimes, cannot be understood by the blunt material senses. They are manifested independently. So from this verse, which actually encapsulates this process of bhakti and devotional service, we can understand that first we must endeavor to take shelter from a bona fide spiritual master, under the shelter of a bona fide spiritual master, and practice, I'll say, relinquishing our conditioning or minimizing our conditioning by these processes put forth, which are the four regulative principles and chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. And then also the Maha Mantra is not only a way to achieve the goal, but it's actually the goal itself. So the more you chant, the more we become purified. You know, they say it's a mirror of the mind, and just constantly trying to wipe off all this filth that has been accumulated over millions of lifetimes. So this chanting will actually help to speed that process up, as does cultivating our own purity by following the four regulative principles, which is quite necessary to wipe out that conditioning and restore our sort of conditioning as a constitutional spirit soul who is in service to Krishna only. So we actually need all of these processes, including the initiation, which ensures that if we follow it rigorously, we will be able to wipe out, or at least somewhat tamp down, until we get to the point where the Maha Mantra can help to even purify us more and more and more. It's sort of like a snowball effect. You know, it's our best hope in this material world for understanding our position as servants of Krishna. And fortunately, Srila Prabhupada has given us this wonderful process, this most unbelievable gift. This is like a treasure that we're able to, undertake this deconditioning or this deprogramming of our material desires, our material conceptions, all of our stuff that we've built up, and even in this lifetime, things that we've built up that are seemingly important. Deprogram us from actually finding those things tasteful. And I can attest that the longer you're in the process and the more you undertake this process very seriously, the less you will be materially inclined. Just as this verse states, the process works 100% of the time. You just have to give it time and your patience, and be patient with yourself. And when you're initiated, that's just the beginning. Then we're able to have a little bit extra power from the parampara to give us that strength to continue, as long as we're sincere and determined in the process. Text 109. Anusanga phale kare samsare rashaya chita Arkashya karaya Krishne premodaya. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, one dissolves his entanglement in material activities. After this, one becomes very much attracted to Krishna, and thus dormant love for Krishna is awakened. That's also the power of the deity worship, because we have an object of our love with Lord Golokananda and Srimati Radharani. Akrishta krita sheshta seta sham sumana shamuchatanam chamhasam achandalam vamuka Goloka sulabo vashacha mukti shriya no diksham nacha satkriyam Nacha puruskaryam managishate mantroyam rashanasprik eva falati Sri Krishna namatmaka. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly, liberal people. It is the annihilator of all sinful reactions, and it is so powerful, save for the dumb who cannot chant it, it is readily available to everyone, including the lowest type of man, the Chandala. The holy name of Krishna is the controller of the opulence of liberation, and it is identical with Krishna. When a person simply chants the holy name with his tongue, immediate effects are produced. Chanting the holy name does not depend on initiation, pious activities, or the Puruskarya regulative principles generally observed before initiation. The holy name does not wait for any of these activities. It is self-sufficient. This verse is found in the Padyavali, an anthology of verses compiled by Srila Rupa Goswami. And this reminds me of yesterday evening, myself and a few others, Anadi and Drista Rudrani, were out on Harinam. And people were very attracted. The holy name of Lord Krishna is an attractive feature for many saintly, liberal people. And you could practically see that Everyone that was passing by us was favorable. Some were clapping, some were raising up their hands. We have a sign. Some were looking at the sign, and you could see they were studying the sign, and they were trying to say, they were mouthing it or they were studying it. And some were there taking a video, pictures. They were hearing, they're actually hearing that vibration. They maybe couldn't understand it so much until they could read it. But they were attracted. They were attracted. And they were all liberal. They were very happy to have that vibration in their midst, I'll say. You could see that everybody was very, very pleased and very interested. Aiteva yanra muke eka Krishna nama Seita Vaishnava Kariha Tanhara Samana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then finally advised, one who is chanting the Hare Krishna mantra is understood to be a Vaishnava. Therefore, you should offer all respects to him. In his Upadeshamrita, Srila Rupa Goswami states, Krishneti Yashad Giri Tamana Sadriyeta Dikshashti Chet Pranati Vishta Cha Bhajantam Isham. An advanced devotee should respect a person who has been initiated by a bona fide spiritual master and who is situated on the transcendental platform, chanting the holy name with faith and obeisances and following the instructions of the spiritual master. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur comments that serving Vaishnavas is most important for householders. Whether a Vaishnava is properly initiated or not is not a subject for consideration. One may be initiated and yet contaminated by the Mayavada philosophy, but a person who chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly will not be so contaminated. A properly initiated Vaishnava may be imperfect, but one who chants the holy name of the Lord offenselessly is all perfect. Although he may be apparently a neophyte, he still has to be considered a pure, unalloyed Vaishnava. It is the duty of the householder to offer respects to such an unalloyed Vaishnava. This is Sri Chaitanya's Mahaprabhu's instructions. Everything's there. And I'll say also, as we've been reading, studying, the more deconditioning, deprogramming, the more one is purified, possibly it would seem that the more offenselessly they can chant, or at least the more they want to chant offenselessly. And part of that, obviously, too, is not creating more offenses and, piling more on. But if we are pure in our intention, and we do see every single person that's chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra as a Vaishnava and respect them accordingly, then we won't be so inclined to make those offenses, obviously. I would hope. Kandira Mukunda Dasa Sri Raghunandana Sri Narahari Mukatina Jana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then turned his attention to three persons, Mukunda Das, Raghunandana, and Sri Narahari, inhabitants of the place called Srikand. Mukunda Dasere Puche Sachira Nandana Tumi Pita Putra Tomara Sri Raghunandana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the son of Mother Sachi, next asked Mukunda Das, "You are the father and your son is Raghunandana. Is that so?" Kiba Raghunandana Pita Tumi Taratanaya Nichaya Kariya Kahaya Uka Samsaya. Or is Srila Raghunandana your father and you are his son? Please let me know the facts so that my doubts will go away. Mukunda kahe Raghunandana mora pitahaya amitara putra e amara nishchaya. Mukunda replied, Raghunandana is my father, and I am his son. This is my decision. Ama sabara Krishna bhakti Raghunandana haite aitaiva pita Raghunandana amara nishchite. All of us have attained devotion to Krishna due to Raghunandana. Therefore, in my mind, he is my father. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will speak about this, but in case someone doesn't know, there's Mukunda and Raghunandana. Mukunda Das was a devotee, and he was a doctor. And Raghunandana was his very small son. And one time Mukunda had to go out on house calls and left Raghunandan in charge of the family deity. And Raghunandan was kind of young, so he didn't know a lot of the mantras and things that went along with deity worship, and particularly with offering bhoga, food. And so when Raghunandan offered this food to the deity, he didn't quite know what to say. So instead, he just, with all of his heart and soul, just with every fiber of his being, begged the deity to accept this offering. Just please, please accept this offering, because he wanted to please the deity and also please his father and make sure everything was going on, because he was entrusted to this worship. And it's a very sweet story, because the deity actually, there was evidence that the deity had eaten the offering. So when the father came home and saw part of the offering had been eaten, he kind of mildly chastised Raghunandan. What's going on here? Why is did you eat the offering? Because, obviously there was nobody else in the house. And Raghunandana was mortified. No, I didn't eat anything. I just begged the deity to eat. And the deity ate because of Raghunandana's imploring him, his love and his devotion. He was imploring him to eat. So Mukunda understood that, wow, so by this boy's devotion, by my son's devotion, intense devotion, Krishna ate. Krishna actually, and that was a revelation to Mukunda. So now Mukunda is saying that Raghunandana is the father because he led the way in this intense devotion to Krishna. Shuni harse kahe Prabhu kahile nishchaya yanha haite Krishna bhakti se guru haya. Hearing Mukunda Das give this proper decision, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu confirmed it, saying, yes, it is correct. One who awakens devotion to Krishna is certainly the spiritual master. Bhaktera mahima Prabhu kahite payasuka, Bhaktera mahima kahite haya panchamuka. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy just to speak of the glories of his devotees. Indeed, when he spoke of their glories, it was as if he had 5 faces. It's very wonderful to see, act as the bee instead of the fly, and see the wonderful mentality of those who are really earnest in bhakti yoga practice and really trying. And it's such it actually encourages that person, but it also it lends to one's faith in the process, because as one progresses in bhakti and their devotion becomes more and more and more intense, it's just such a heartwarming and also, I'll say, somewhat relieving, because that person's awakening, they're awakening to their position, they're awakening to that love, which is limitless, right? This love for, this devotion for Krishna is just, there's no boundary, and it's to see it manifest in various ways with different people, because there's limitless ways that devotion can sort of show. It's just, it's indescribable. It's such a, the love just bubbles over, to see that process is working. And I'll just say, for instance, that I've seen Bhakta Anthony, having come here to save his friend from a cult. And so he came here to, see what's going on with this, what's happening. But, look at him now. He's dotied up and he's here and he's trying so hard. He's trying so hard. And so, that's like such a testament, I feel like, to how this process just, it's so blissful and it works 100% of the time, even with a skeptical naysayer. Even if somebody just has some sincerity and they're, surrenders even a little. It's like, that thing, if you give somebody an inch, they take a mile. I feel like that's Krishna, because Krishna's so beautiful and he's so perfect. And if you just give him that one little inch, he'll he'll kick that door open. It's only open to crack. He'll slam it open and he'll just give you everything, if you want it, if you can take it, right? Bhakta gane kahe shuna mukhandera prema niguda nirmala prema yena dagdad hema. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then informed all his devotees, "Please hear about Mukunda's love of Godhead. It is very deep and pure love, and can only be compared to purified gold. Vaye Raja Vedya ino kare Raja Seva, antare Krishna prema inhara jani beka keba." Mukunda Das externally appears to be a royal physician engaged in governmental service, but internally he has deep love for Krishna. Who can understand his love? Unless Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu discloses the fact, no one can understand who is actually a great devotee of the Lord engaged in his service. It is therefore said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 23, text 39, Tanra vakya kriya mudra vinje neha nabujaya. Even the most perfect and learned scholar cannot understand a Vaishnava's activities. A Vaishnava may be engaged in governmental service or in a professional business, so that externally one cannot understand his position. Internally, however, he may be a Nitya Siddha Vaishnava, that is, an eternally liberated Vaishnava. Externally, Mukunda Das was a royal physician, but internally he was the most liberated Paramahamsa devotee. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew this very well, but ordinary men could not understand it, for the activities and plans of a Vaishnava cannot be understood by ordinary men. However, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his representative understand everything about a devotee, even though the devotee may externally pretend to be an ordinary householder and professional businessman, which begs to highlight the fact that we don't know who anybody is. We have no idea. And always treating those persons with the utmost respect and kindness and facility so they can further their devotion. And also, this highlights the fact that Mukunda Das was a royal physician. So, he had some position. And, of course, Lord Chaitanya here is expounding his wonderful glories. And he's a Paramahamsa, a wonderful devotee of the Lord, perfect devotee of the Lord. But you know what? Mukunda Das was so humble that he said that his son was the spiritual master. His son had more devotion. The son was the greatest, which underscores another very, very important quality as Vaishnavas and devotees is humility. You know, we should always be humble in all circumstances with everyone that we meet. Ekadina mlecha rajara ucha tungite chikichara akahe tanhara agrete. One day, Mukundadas, the royal physician, was seated with the Muslim king on a high platform and was telling the king about medical treatment. Hena kale ka mayura puchera dani raja siro paridare eka sevakani. While the king and Mukundadas were conversing, a servant brought a fan made of peacock feathers to shade the king's head from the sun. Consequently, he held the fan above the king's head. Siki picha deki mukunda prema vista haila ati ucha tungi haite bhumite padila. Just by seeing the peacock-feathered fan, Mukundadasa became absorbed in ecstatic love of Godhead and fell from the high platform onto the ground. Rajara Jnana Raja Vaideryera Haila Marana Apane Namiya Tabe Karaila Chetana. The king, fearing that the royal physician had been killed, personally descended and brought him to consciousness. Raja Bale Vyata Tumi Paila Konatani Mukunda kahe ati bala vyata painai. When the king asked, Mukunda, where is it paining you? Mukunda replied, I am not very much pained. Raja kahe Mukunda tumi padila kilagi. Mukunda kahe raja mora vyadiache mrigi. The king then inquired, Mukunda, why did you fall down? Mukunda replied, My dear king, I have a disease like epilepsy. Mahavigdada Raja se sabajane mukendera haila tanra mahasida jane. Being extraordinarily intelligent, the king could understand the whole affair. In his estimation, Mukunda was a most uncommon, exalted, liberated personality. Raghunanda seva kare Krishnera mandire tvare puskarini tara gatera upare kandambera eka vrikshe pute bara mase nityadui pula haya Krishna vatamshe. Raghunandana is constantly engaged in serving Lord Krishna in the temple. Beside the entrance of the temple is a lake, and on its banks is a kandama tree, which daily delivers 2 flowers to be used for Krishna's service. Mukundere kahe puna madura vachana tomara karya dharma dane uparjana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu again spoke to Mukunda with sweet words. Your duty is to earn both material and spiritual wealth. Raghunandanera karya Krishnera sevana Krishna seva vina inarharya nahimana. Furthermore, it is the duty of Raghunandana to always engage in Lord Krishna's service. He has no other intention but the service of Lord Krishna. Narahari Rahu Amara Bhakta Ganasane Etina Karya Sada Karahatina Jane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then ordered Narahari, I wish you to remain here with my devotees. In this way, the 3 of you should always execute these 3 duties for the service of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu set forth 3 duties for 3 different people. Mukunda was to earn money and follow the religious principles, whereas Narahari was to remain with the Lord's devotees, and Raghunandana was to engage in the Lord's service in the temple. Thus, one person worships in the temple, another earns money honestly by executing his professional duty, and yet another preaches Krishna consciousness with the devotees. Apparently, these three types of service appear separate, but actually they are not. When Krishna or Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the center, everyone can engage in different activities for the service of the Lord. That is the verdict of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we see this here and now. It creates a wonderful machine, well-oiled machine, when there's everyone doing their particular part and piece and what their propensity, proclivity, what they've been ordered to do from their spiritual master based on their psychophysical nature. It actually creates a very harmonious working vehicle that everyone can sort of get into and go back to Godhead. And that's assuming everyone is amenable to their being in their part and piece of that whole puzzle. And when you put all those pieces together, as we can see with just these three, we can understand that that's the perfect arrangement. You know, everybody has their own bit, their own part that they have to play. And it's very sweet because this is basically enhancing or also highlighting, you know, kind of the workings that we have now. There's the person that makes money, you know, by professional means to help to support the whole operation. Oh, here's one coming in the door now. And then there's someone that, you know, engages in the deity worship to make sure the deity is pleased and, you know, taken care of nicely as per regulation. And then there's a supporter or many supporters. I was actually having a discussion with my adopted Mata Prafulla Mukhi last night, or maybe the night before. She comes over every night, and we support her, you know, need for a family environment. And she graces us with her magnanimous presence quite often, and sometimes she brings a treat like a peach pie or something as such. And she one day said, you know, I don't feel like I'm doing anything for this movement. You know, Sadhvi's going out and doing so much. And I said, well, you know, you're here now and you're supporting everybody. You're supporting all of this. You know, you're supporting us in so many ways. Just because you're not doing that duty doesn't mean you're not doing anything. So this is all needed. Everybody's support is needed in various ways. We're grateful for that. It's one big family. All glories to Sri Sri Radha Golokananda. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to Sri Guru Vir Krishnadas Goswami and to magnanimous Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Namaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Menam Kanvantam Aravindanalayatapsam Varhavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Akom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobha. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Dhammini Namine Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Gauravani Vaja, Naked, say shot, Shunyavati, Matsya Jagati, Satarane. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidvaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidvaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidvaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jidvaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Ram, Goloka Nana, Goloka Nana, Rate. Jaya Ram, Goloka Nana, Goloka Nana, Rate. Ayo Rate. Ayo, Radhe, Ayo, Radhe, Ayo, Radhe. Naya, Radhe. Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe.
Bhavamahadavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrikavitaranam. Thank you. Vidu Jivanam Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam Pratipanam Purnamrita Swadanam Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Very nice. Nanida Sarva Shaktis Tatrapita Niyamitam Sarane Nakala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Dordaiva Midrishami Hadjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Sishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhaktir Ahoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitamam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabata Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrishim Vachintaya Nayanam Galadishu Daraya Varanam Gadgaduridaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vabhukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yuga Yatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Aslishya Vapadamritam Panastumam Adarshanam Marmato Karotuva Yatatatava Vidadatu Lambato Mat Prananatastu Saivanapara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire to beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor. Yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. O my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I'm feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me brokenhearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything else. For he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shastastika Ki Jai.